Good morning, and I have woke up awfully late today. It is almost 8 a.m., about 1 hour behind schedule. Now, the reason because I came back home yesterday, finishing my fast, I thought it would be a good idea to just eat a big, humongous bowl of pasta. And when I woke up, I just felt dead. I felt dead. I felt so sluggish, as if I was just smoked a bunch of pot. So I stayed in bed for a bit longer until I managed my willpower to get up. Well, actually, that's a lie because my dad woke me up. But I'm up here now, and today I am going to proceed with learning Redux, right? I tried to add more components to my application yesterday. However, I realized that I actually don't know anything I learned thus far. I only know the basics, like I know exactly how things work, but when it comes to me being practical about putting the pieces together, I fail horrendously. I'm heavily relying on ChatGPT, and if you guys have worked with AI, you know that AI is literally like it messes with you, right? If you don't be very specific with what you wanted to do, it'll give you answers that otherwise could have been better or otherwise worse, could have been totally irrelevant. So I think to master English or to master how to talk with clarity is one of the things you have to be good at if you're going to use AI and leverage AI. Don't get me wrong, AI is a toolkit, right? That is so smart. Like it has the biggest brain, but you legit have to tell it exactly what to do. If you fail to do that, then you're only going to drive yourself crazy. But yeah, so I'm not sure if you guys can read my horrible, horrendous writing, but the goal is to learn Redux, set up my recalls, right? Progress with my course, finish my user state, and set up tasks for checkout, whatever that means. I'm a bit confused even what I wrote. But that's the plan. So I'm gonna get right into it after I have a little bit of protein and water inside of me. And I'll see you guys in a bit. Guys, in an hour, I have to go to work. But before I do that, I'm gonna check out this book, 10x is easier than 2x. Now, the reason why I picked up this book from the library around my house is because I thought what this meant is if you put in 10x amount of effort, it's going to be better than 2x, right? I mean, that's really what the title means. But until I read the header or whatever, and it says how world-class entrepreneurs achieve more by doing less. Now, I have always been a skeptic, all right, about doing less to achieve more. Now, don't get me wrong, I do know there's a thing going out there saying work smarter and not harder. And yes, I do believe that. You see, I don't think there's anything wrong with that, right? You definitely want to work smart, but you have to work hard. And let me tell you why. Because you see, we are in an informational age, right? We have a computer, we have a laptop, we have the World Wide Web, we have social media, and we are gifted and fortunate in a way that we all have the same amount of information. Yes, some people may have access to information where you might not have, but it is still accessible if you seek for that similar information. So the concept works smart, right? I do believe we all have the same tools, right? If somebody wants to pick up this book in the library, by all means they can, right? Nobody's going to restrict them from doing this. So let's just say we all have the right tools. We all have the right tools, the same skill sets. Now, at the end, what determines the person to become the best or what determines the person to win out amongst a crowd really comes down to a lot of things. But if we take away the tools and the skill sets, and what comes down will be determined by how much output you put in, meaning how much work you're willing to sacrifice than your competition. So in the end, effort, time spent is the key concept and thing you have to be willing to sacrifice if you want to become better than your other peers. So again, I may be totally wrong, and I do hope that I am wrong, and I do wish I could be educated
from this book to learn something better, and maybe I could implement this into my life. And I do think this is crucial too, right? Just because you think that working smart is not a valid method because you think everyone else knows how to work smart. But if you don't know exactly how to work smart, for example, picking up books similar like these to read business books, to read books that help you develop a skill set, perhaps you're socially awkward. If you don't read books to help you articulate yourself better in social norms, then you never will become better, right? That's the default solution. So if you want to get better at something, work hard, but work hard by also working smart, right? So overall, I'm pretty excited to check out this book. But before I do that, I just want to touch on something about this morning's work block. And that was I had a lot of doubt in myself. You see, guys, when I was working away on learning the Redux library, I realized that I am actually not that smart. I never really understood the concept right away. Because after watching the lectures, right, during the lectures actually, I felt competent, right, to code along with the instructor. You feel like you know the whole concept. But when I was left with my own devices without the code along lecture videos, I realized that I actually can't do this. And that was a really harsh reality shock because it kind of hurted my ego in a way that I thought I understood something, but I didn't. So in my head, I transferred that disappointment into doubt, into insecurities, whether if I can even create my application. But let's just not go that far as to create an application. Let's just say, would I even understand how to simply learn a library, right? That really got to me. And then I had the doubts. I had the doubts maybe I should just quit coding. I had the doubts maybe I should do something else like dropshipping to get rich. And all these thoughts and distractions were running through my mind. But what really got me to not give up on my journey to create my application, to learn these libraries, was that you have to just let your ego die. You have to let your ego die in a way that, yes, you may not be the best now, but if you quit, then you certainly will never get better today. And you have to understand that you are not dumb, because even though I did not understand exactly how to work Redux on my own, at least I knew something more today than yesterday. At least I know something more now than before I even knew that a library called Redux had existed. So we all learn at our own pace, and this is where working hard comes in, right? If you're dumb, if you think you're falling behind, then just work harder. But then again, there are strategies like work smart that will help you work better and remember stuff faster. So when you intertwine these two things together, then you will become better. But if you choose to give up because in the moment you are not the best, or in your own eyes how you see yourself to be, then perhaps change your profession. Then entrepreneurship is not for you. Then perhaps even studying is not for you. You get a 9-to-5 job, perhaps at a fast food restaurant. Because, hey, that's the hard truth, guys. If you don't want to put in the effort, if you don't want to be uncomfortable and scratch your head at your own frustration, then you will never amount to anything in life. And that's really the sad truth that we all have to swallow, right? The pill we all have to swallow is the word I'm looking for, because you have to be uncomfortable, because being uncomfortable means you are doing something beyond yourself. And over time, you will settle, you become comfortable and familiar in what something you were once uncomfortable in.